Hey everybody, Dr. Jared Skowron from Spectrum Awakening. Now, Candida is a yeast that a lot of us frankly have to deal with. Whether it be us personally or whether it be our kids, yeast is everywhere, fungus is everywhere, it gets into our systems, whether it's inside us, whether it's on our skin. There's fungus, there's Candida, and we need to make sure that we get rid of it because these yeast infections not only are going to affect your whole GI system, your digestion, your absorption, and your bowels, but it's also going to affect your mood. You know, it's interesting how yeast actually secretes certain chemicals that get absorbed into the bloodstream and then go hit receptors in the brain and can actually affect our mood. So it's kind of cool how different organisms inside our gut, inside our intestines, do affect our mood and behavior. It's not that they're affecting our brain directly, but they do secrete chemicals that get into the bloodstream and do affect our brain. So we're going to be talking about how we can make sure we get rid of that Candida and keep it away because it's a big problem with a lot of people. So again, today we're going to talk about Candida, and obviously Candida is an issue for a lot of us. Yeast issues in our gut, affecting digestion, affecting the gut, affecting our mood, and frankly, it's hard to get rid of. Many of you may have been trying nystatin or diflucan for months and months and months, or different natural supplements, and just can't seem to kick it. So what I am going to show you is something that I think has been around for a long, long time, but I think we just may have forgotten and forgot about the benefits, and I think it's an important thing to reintroduce for most of our kids. So the new treatment that we're going to be talking about, or the old treatment that we should just really reconsider, is iodine. So let me take you back and talk all about iodine because I found some really cool research. I was actually reading my wife was reading a older nutritional textbook. It's a Chinese medicine nutritional textbook by Paul Pritchford, great book. And this edition was published back in the 90s. So, it's pretty old, but talks all about Candida and iodine. And I started thinking, now, wait a minute, what did we used to do before, in surgeries or for blood draws to clean our skin? What did we use? We used iodine. Any of you who remember this, they would be these envelopes. You'd open the envelope and you'd have like a popsicle stick with this dark brown substance on it, and you'd wipe it on your skin wherever you were gonna have a blood draw or have a procedure done, because the iodine would kill anything here on your skin, all right? And I started thinking, well, wait a minute. If this nutrition book is talking about iodine and Candida and different kind of fungal infections, we obviously used iodine all day long instead of alcohol to clean our skin before we did something. Maybe we've got some research specifically on iodine and Candida and iodine and autism. So let me walk you through the research that I did find, because I think iodine is something that the majority of us should put into our regular regimen, all right? And before I get into the research, a really important thing to say, we get most of our dietary iodine from the sea. Okay, we get it from sea salt, we get it from sea foods, especially sea vegetables like seaweed. And if we're not eating those things, then our iodine level is going to be pretty low, and we just may not be getting an iodine source. And when you use salt for your iodine source, you've got to make sure you check your bottle of salt. Many salts, especially sea salts now, do not contain iodine, and it is a necessary nutrient. So if you're not eating kelp or seaweed on a regular basis, where are you getting your iodine unless your salt has iodine? So please go home, check your salt, make sure you have salt with iodine in it. By law, every salt has to say whether it does or does not contain iodine. It is hugely important. So let's get into the research. All right, cheaters on. So let's start with some in vitro studies. So these are studies not in the body, but outside the body. So this is a research study about iodine ointment against biofilm formation. And they found that the iodine helps kill many species of Candida albicans biofilms. And after the treatment, no Candida albicans biofilm was recovered. Also cool, the iodine also killed MRSA. MRSA is antibiotic resistant bacteria, Staph aureus. So the iodine killed those. Here's another one. Here's another study about the efficacy of antiseptics against Candida biofilms. Complete eradication which was achieved only by using iodine. This povidone iodine is the type of iodine preparation, but it's the iodine that's killing it off. All right, here's another one, again, outside the body, but Candida albicans susceptibility to an iodine formulation. The iodide formulation showed to inhibit Candida biofilm formation. Okay. Pretty cool. Again, this is research outside the body. What about research inside the body? And a lot of the research is actually dental research, because a lot of people get thrush or Candida or yeast inside the mouth. So there's a lot of research in the whole dental arena about these things. So here's another one. Iodine inhibits bacterial growth in the oral cavity of patients. So we're actually looking in the mouth of patients and looking at Candida growth here. Now, you may be saying, well, my child doesn't have Candida in their mouth. Well, guess what? If you did have Candida in the mouth and you swallowed it, it would be in your esophagus, in your stomach, in your intestines, in your colon, in your poop. We're just one big tube here from mouth to toilet. So if it's in one part, I think we can kind of, expand that to being treated in any part. So here's iodine inhibiting bacterial growth in the oral cavity of patients, and part of their bacteria, they looked at MRSA, they looked at Strep, Pseudomonas, and they also looked at Candida albicans, and it killed off those, and most importantly, the iodine did not disturb the balance of the oral microbiota, which means the iodine didn't kill off the good bacteria, it killed off the bad guys, which is pretty cool. Here's another research study where they had titanium implants that were putting into people, but they covered the titanium implants with iodine to make sure that it wouldn't get infected. And it was a very effective antibacterial and antifungal. This study said if you're above a 2, it was effective, and the Candida albicans had more than a 4.7. So that was pretty cool stuff as well. Here's another research study. They used iodine tablets for treating oral infections. Again, a lot of dental research here, but Candida albicans the iodine had a marked antifungal and antibacterial activity against Candida and other bacteria. So, all right, this is some good research showing us that, hey, yeah, iodine works to kill Candida. All right, again, this is a really old school treatment I think we've forgotten about and should really think about more. A lot of us know, hey, I would wipe iodine on my skin, I use iodine in my mouth, it's going to kill Candida, but also implants in the body, cover it with iodine, and it's not going to grow fungus, which is pretty cool. Now let's extrapolate this to autism, okay? Now, first off, what does iodine have to do with autism? Most of us think about iodine in the thyroid, all right? Because iodine, one of the more important things of iodine that it does is make sure that our thyroid is working well. So, number one, here's a research study that says, is iodine deficiency a cause of autism? And again, that's just the title. This study didn't have an abstract. Okay, does iodine cause autism? The researchers are wondering. What's the interaction between toxins, agricultural pesticides in particular, and marginal iodine status? Is that a cause of autism? So now we're combining low iodine with pesticides. What the heck do pesticides and iodine have to do with each other? Don't touch that dial. I'll walk you through it. Okay. This is a research study talking about the combination of chlorine or chlorination byproducts inducing autism-like behaviors in animal studies. So hold on, let me kind of get through this. The certain chemicals that have chlorine or bromine, okay, including chloroform, bromoform, other perchlorates and other pesticides have been proven to contribute to the prevalence of autism, and they will cause significant elevated anxiety, increase in stimming behavior, development autistic-like behaviors postnatally, and other by consuming these pesticides in those drinking water. I didn't really say that all well. Let me say that again. These pesticides that are out there can cause autistic-like behaviors in animals when they are in your drinking water. So let me now make that extrapolation. Why am I worried about pesticides that have chlorine and bromine in my drinking water with autism, and how does that associate with iodine? All right. let's go back to high school biology. I have printed out the periodic table of elements. You remember this thing? Or it might bring out PTSD for many of us, but here's a periodic table of elements. And what I want to highlight is this column here. Okay, this column here at the end contains iodine, bromine, chlorine, and fluoride. All right? Iodine, bromine, chlorine, and fluoride. These elements, when they're in the same column, have very similar reactivity in the body. They almost can replace each other at different parts in the body. This is the major concern of these other chemicals when it comes to iodine deficiency in autism, because guess what? We get lots of chlorine, all right? Just open up your tap water. There's chlorine in it, okay? Also in different pesticides. Bromine, really popular in a lot of bread products. They have bromine in them. Fluoride, okay? Many city waters have fluoride added. So just by drinking your tap water, you're gonna get pesticides with chlorine. You're gonna get regular chlorine just from what they put in city water. You may or may not get fluoride. Bromine, again, that can be in pesticides. That can also be in bread products. Those are all going to fight iodine inside the body and basically kick it out. So it becomes a turf war of how much iodine am I getting, and most of us not very much unless we're eating seaweed on a regular basis or eating iodized salt on a regular basis. They're gonna have a turf war with all the chlorine, all the fluoride, and all the bromine that's inside the body. And what eventually happens is the iodine gets kicked out and replaced with those other elements. And that starts to cause certain problems in the body with autism and with the thyroid. Let me get to some more research studies, okay? And this is what I find very intriguing that I think you should all understand. Okay, here's iodine in autism spectrum disorders. They tested 40 kids, 19 out of the 40 kids with autism had mild to moderate iodine deficiency, a deficiency in this nutrient. Just like you test for B12, just like you test for vitamin D, just like you test for iron. Why aren't we testing for iodine deficiencies? Because it's so important in our body. They also measured thyroid markers. They had lower levels of UI is their abbreviation for urinary iodine. So they had low iodine, low T3 thyroid hormone, low T4 thyroid hormone, and higher levels of TSH. That's a blood thyroid marker, okay? That shows low thyroid function. That was very prevalent in the autistic group compared to the control group. Concentrations of iodine in the urine was negatively associated with the clinician's general impression. What that basically means is if the doctor thought the child with autism was bad, their iodine levels were low. Okay, so the lower the iodine, the worse the severity is what they showed. They also showed an association of low iodine with bad emotional response, adaptation to environmental change, verbal communication problems, and bad intellectual functioning, all from low iodine. Okay, last research study here. Oh, wait a minute, is this the one? No, sorry, this isn't the one. No, this is the one. This is what no, I'm good. Here we go. Here's the last one. Iodine deficiency in Egyptian children and the relation to disease severity. This all showed that urinary iodine was lower among autistic patients, and autism had a significant risk for association with the low iodine. So iodine deficiency is prevalent in this study, Egyptian autistic children and in their mothers, and was inversely related to disease severity, which means the lower the iodine, the worse the autism. Okay, so that's the research I had. I had one more study that I thought made a good point, but I don't see it here. That's all right, no worries, you get the point. The point is basically, there's a lot of nutritional deficiencies in our kids, okay? In fact, I just talked to somebody this morning in my office who, hey, you know what, my kid eats chicken nuggets, cookies, and ice cream. And that's all they want. They'll refuse any other food. So where am I gonna get my nutrients if I don't take the right supplements, okay? Number one, let's make sure we think about iodine, okay? We all testing our B12 levels, we're all testing our vitamin D levels, we're all testing our iron levels. What about all the other vitamins out there? And what about iodine? You want to make sure you have enough iodine, especially because in our world, our iodine is getting forced out of our body. Our iodine levels are plummeting because we're consuming chlorine, we're consuming fluoride, and we're consuming bromine, okay? They're in our water, they're in our city water, they're in our bread products. We've got to make sure we win this battle, okay? So what can we do? Easy peasy lemon squeezy, just add more iodine. That's all you gotta do, all right? 2 ways to do it. Number 1, make sure the salt that you have in your home has iodine, okay? Check it right now, take the bottle, look at the bottle. Does it have iodine? By law, it has to say whether it does or does not. If it does not, throw it out and go get another one, all right? I know a lot of people use sea salts, they're very popular. Many sea salts do not have iodine, some do. Just make sure you get the right one, okay? The other way to do it, again, very simple, just like vitamin D. If you got low vitamin D, what are you gonna do? You're gonna take vitamin D. If you got low iodine, take iodine, okay? This is our iodine supplement, Iodinomite. We've had this for a couple years. This is a great supplement because it also has other minerals in it that will help with thyroid function. It's got a little bit of magnesium, it's got a little bit of zinc, a little bit of selenium, very important for thyroid, and a little bit of manganese. So important things. Try an iodine supplement that can help boost your levels up as well. And again, think of the iodine mostly as a nutrient deficiency. Just like, hey, I got low vitamin D, I'm gonna take vitamin D. I got low iodine, take my iodine.